welcome once again to the Forward Compatible Podcast. This is episode 95, part 1 for December 1st. I almost had it all memorized too. December 1st, 2013. My name's Tony. I'm joined, as always, by my fellow podcaster, Jason.
Howdy.
And as you guys can see, both Mark and Bryan were unable to attend this week. Mark was not feeling well.
Fuck you guys.
And Bryan had some previous obligations.
What?
So we're going to do the much rumored but rarely seen
Terrible Twosome?
the Terrible Twosome podcast this week. I suppose, we haven't done it in a while. How's your week been?
Not bad.
It takes too long when there's 4 people to get through.
We can also, especially since everybody just had a holiday and everything, and there was that horrible event called Black Friday. I'm actually thinking that the episode name for part 2 this week will be Black Sunday.
It's a good idea.
That'll work. It was all right. Pretty uneventful. I had to work Wednesday night to set up all the sales stuff for you for Friday morning.
It was excellent.
Yeah.
It was very well done, sir.
Yeah.
Except for everything was left out. We got there and there was like...
Well, see, that's the thing is I got kicked out of the store at I think it was 1:30 in the morning. It's like, I don't have no more payroll for you. I'm like, all right, look at the dogs. They're gonna come in here.
They're slowly inching in. They're breaking down. They're breaking down the barriers.
Yeah,
Stay back.
Get out of here. Anyways, pretty uneventful. Nothing really exciting. Very lackluster.
No good food?
My aunt brought me over a plate Thursday night because I had to work Thursday evening at my other job, which is not retail. So I didn't really do the whole Thanksgiving thing. Most of my family is down in Florida at the moment. I'm so distracted by the dogs. He's such a dick. I wish they could see this. He's just slowly moving the gate. But other than that, pretty uneventful. I'm going to fix this.
As for myself,
It's your fault, Tony.
it's all right. Thanksgiving was... it was pretty Thanksgiving-ish. Nothing crazy happened. Ate at my parents', and then I had to duck out early because I had to work at one of my jobs for... we opened at midnight, so on Friday, so I had to be at the store at 11 to set everything up and get ready for the hell that is Black Friday.
But you worked Wednesday night because you work at a
because I work at a bar as well, and I found this out. This is interesting. Apparently, it's called Super Wednesday.
See, now I've never heard of Black Wednesday.
Black Wednesday is a Chicago thing.
Okay.
And I've always called it Black Wednesday. And then some out-of-towners were like, what the hell are you talking about? And then I Googled it, and it is a Chicago thing.
Really?
And I went through my entire 29 years of existence calling it Black Wednesday because that's what we call it.
I've always heard it called Red Wednesday because red is the color of wine. That's the drinking night.
Huh.
And in some retail outlets, they don't call it Black Friday, it's Green Friday. Get it?
Well, it's actually called Black Friday because when you're doing financial reports,
it's
the day that a business becomes profitable. Every day before Black Friday, they're still in the red, covering labor costs, electricity, rent, and it is the day that is when, if you take a Sears, they work from January 1st all the way till Black Friday to cover their overhead for the year.
Yeah.
So all the profit the store makes is from Black Friday on.
Yeah, it's not a derogatory term towards retail or anything.
Yeah.
But like I said, it's kind of built up that stigma a little bit. So I've heard some retailers call it internally Green Friday. Yeah. Because that's when they're profitable. The green is the money, and then you have.
And to finish my thought,
go ahead.
It was because when they become profitable, then the color switches from red to black.
Yeah.
So it puts them in the black, which is why it's Black Friday. Oh, profits. Go ahead, sorry.
There's also now it's called Small Business Saturday.
Yeah, after everybody's extending that shit. Then first was the Black Friday, then became Cyber Monday, then it's Small Business Saturday. It's just Jesus Christ.
Nothing on Sunday though. here's a new tradition. It's forward compatible Sunday.
Make it nationwide.
Yep. Every Sunday is a holiday when you tune into our shit, even though it doesn't come out on Sundays. But that's when we're recording it.
Yeah, the bars were packed that night. I made a killing. It was great.
Yep.
Yeah, so
a male stripper.
My Thursday of Thanksgiving was spent working into the beginning of it at the bar and at the tail end of it into Black Friday. So I actually worked quite a bit on Thanksgiving.
Did you? Because I know we're gonna obviously get into the weekly roundtable and everything, but since we're here, did you pick up any Black Friday sales?
I did. I got 2 years of PlayStation Plus because it was on sale for $30. I got.
So you got 2 years for the price of
wood, essentially.
Yeah, if we're counting by Microsoft standards, you got 2 years.
The cool thing is they stack. I'm not putting in the codes quite yet because PS4 is having some login issues, which we'll get to later. But it doesn't really matter because my PlayStation Plus doesn't expire till January. No, December 31st because I bought it for myself for Christmas and I waited till the last day of December before those free games went off and January 1st's free games kicked in. So that first day, I had like a ton of games already.
Nice.
So, but yeah, they stack on top of one another, so I'll be covered till like 2015. I picked up a couple Vita memory cards because they were ridiculously cheap.
$10 for the 8 gigs?
Yeah.
Probably bought the whole stock.
Huh?
I said you probably bought the whole stock.
More or less, yeah. And I also picked up Walking Dead on Vita, the complete edition. It was like $10, I think. On the Vita cartridge. I didn't think I would play that game again, but I might. And
I mean, $10.
If not, my sister, who doesn't play video games at all, who I think would be able to handle that game, she played on my Vita a few times and she really enjoyed it. She played like one of those smart games, Smart As, and then she played what the fuck is it called? Escape Plan.
Okay.
And really dug that. So she got a feel for the Vita and likes it, and she's a big Walking Dead fan, so I might let her play through it because I already played through it.
Yeah, and I mean, you never know. You know, something happens to your file on it, or you choose to for season 2 if you want to end up doing it on the Vita. You know, you have options now.
Plus, it's an easy platinum.
Yeah, and also too when you think of it this way,
and it stacks. You could have a PS3 platinum and a Vita platinum on the same game
because they haven't announced how your story is transitioning over from past gen to current gen now. With Walking Dead,
which is gonna piss me off. I have to go back and play it on the PS3.
Well, that's what I was. Here's what I was thinking. Right now, if you just play it like season 2 on your Vita, you're covered because Vita is the current gen.
Yeah, there's no
exactly. So I mean, that's an option too.
Yeah. So anyway, I saw it. It was really cheap because that game just came out and it's $30, and I was like, like $10. I'm like, let me scoop it up.
$70 was your Black Friday expenditures?
No, it was about 100 because of the Vita cards. It was 30 and 30.
Yes, I forgot about that.
Yeah.
How many did you pick up? Two?
Two.
Okay.
One's already full because I was out of room. And this week on PlayStation Plus, we got Soul Sacrifice and Oddworld Stranger's Wrath, which is already like 5 gigs.
Yeah.
So, I mean, one of the cards is already almost...
Okay. Cool. Well, that's
yeah. I suppose we'll kick off the show with our weekly roundtable and catch everybody up on what we've been playing since the last time we all spoke.
I just did like a little...
Oh.
Because, I do the little transition.
I caught you at the end and you were like
I did the little transition things between the videos and whatnot. So, I guess I'm going first then. I mean, I'm not used to going first. Two things. I've spent a mass amount of time on my Xbox One. I have not touched Rise again. Put Rise to the side. I've got to go back and I've got to revise one of my reviews from last week, and that is for Dead Rising 3. I did not care for the game when I first played it. Watched Angry Andy play it quite a bit. Figured I'm going to go back, give it another shot, give it a real good go. And then when I'm sitting there playing it, and I'm probably about 15, 20 minutes into it, I realized that one of my friends is playing it online. So I jump in and I start doing co-op with him. And I did co-op for about 6 hours with him. And now I love the game again. We did encounter some issues. It's kind of tricky to jump into a party together. You can't just open up your friends list and go invite party to game anymore. That's not there. When I did load into his game, and he's got the video of it, I've got a video of it too. He's got an NPC following him, and she's clearly fighting a horde of zombies. On my screen, there's no zombies.
That's not good.
Yeah, it only happened once. I exited out, we reloaded, everything synced up fine after that. So it's interesting because like she's getting her ass kicked and she's and you see her with the drill and there's nothing going on there. I'm standing on a car. I'm standing next to her, and I'm like, okay, well, what's going on your screen? He goes, you're standing there. They're ignoring you.
Interesting.
So, the second game that I picked up was Forza. I am not a simulation racing fan at all, but something about it, probably Adam Sessler's review and everybody saying that you don't have to be a hardcore car guy to get into it, and then the fact that one of my newer, even though it's been around for like 15 years, favorite TV shows is Top Gear. I'm already through like 6 seasons of it. They play a decent role in the game. Really sold me on it, and I got it for $40 digitally. So I've been playing that. I even posted up a picture on our Facebook page that I beat Tony's time on the Top Gear track, which was awesome. I was so happy when it said that. His drivatar is a dick.
That's because I drive like a dick. That's how
not nearly as bad as my friend Stan. His guy will go from fucking last place to pulling ahead in first, like nothing. And then you get up next to him, and he'll fucking hit you. I'm like, you prick!
That's how I drive.
Yeah. Oh, I'm. The game should not be called Forza for me. It should be called Demolition Derby.
Trading Paint 5.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Exactly. Because I'm just like, oh, there's a turn. Bam. Oh, thanks, car.
Use them to cut inside. Exactly. I do that all the time.
Exactly. I did have one other small issue, but it was one on my behalf, and it was freaking me out. I was texting Tony when it was happening. I'm like, Tony, the triggers aren't rumbling in Forza. What's going on? I'm looking online. I'm going through the settings. Everything's set. The rumble's on. I'm like, what the fuck? Is my controller broken? I'm freaking out because it did it in Dead Rising, but now it's not. And I'm like, well, I can put in Dead Rising and see if it does it again. But Dead Rising's very subtle, and I've heard Forza's pretty intense.
Yeah.
So on a whim, I'm like, fuck it. I changed the batteries, and then it rumbled. So I've already managed to wear down 2 AA batteries in a week. And that was Wednesday. So
yeah. That about it?
That's it.
Yeah. How you liking Forza though?
I'm absolutely loving it.
It's a good game.
I really can't pick what I like more out of the 3 exclusives between Forza, Dead Rising, and Rise. I think between those 3 games, that is one of the strongest launch lineups I've seen in a while without having, and I know Forza is, but without having that killer AAA shooter like they normally do from Microsoft. Mm-hmm. It's amazing.
Yeah.
So, while you take care of that, I'm going to be back.
All right.
You talk to people.
First and foremost, I played a little bit more Contrast.
Tony is a man of the people.
I was expecting I would have beaten the game by now, but I really didn't put as much time into it as I thought I would. It's still an awful lot of fun. I'm only missing like 1 collectible from where I am right now.
Just 1?
Yeah, I'm pretty much, I think, done with Act 1, but or right at the very end of it. And I've only missed 1 collectible, and I'm really upset because I wasn't even trying to get them. But when
I'm upset because I'm almost done.
But when you have like 99% of them, you're kind of like, what the fuck, man? Where's the one I missed? And then it starts eating at you. When I started that game, I wasn't planning on getting them all, but I just found them all, just exploring. So that made me a little unhappy. After that, I did start Dead Rising 3 because I beat Rise. And I was going to go one at a time with these games. I'd like to talk about Dead Rising first because I played that a lot less and I don't have too much of an opinion yet. I just started it like a day or two ago, right after I beat Rise. It's okay. It's what I expected it was going to be. I'm not really into that series. I think it's the worst of the big zombie games. Didn't like Dead Rising 1, didn't like Dead Rising 2. This one's a vast improvement over the first couple, but it's more or less what I expected. I kind of picked this game up on a whim, just so I'd have more to play on the Xbox One. But when I originally ordered all this stuff, I was only going to get Forza and Rise. I wasn't even thinking about getting Dead Rising. Then all my buddies are getting the Xbox One. We're like, get Dead Rising. We play co-op. So I'm like, all right, so I bit. It's okay. I'm not really impressed with it, but it's not a bad game. It's pretty much what I thought it was going to be.
Did you do, really quick before you move on, now that I'm back, did you do any co-op in the previous Dead Risings?
No.
No? It is a far superior, I mean, nothing changes other than having a buddy there with you. But,
well, we'll try it out this week sometime.
just having a buddy there with you. And the random ass outfits that you and your friend may or may not be wearing. Like I was saying, I was playing with my buddy.
I saw you wear like a purple banana hammock or something.
Yeah, we were in full gimp suits with red go-go boots.
Really?
Yes, because we found the sex shop.
Nice.
And spoilers, Tony, I apologize. There is literally a vibrator Gatling gun.
Nice.
It's like boop, 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 and it through the air. And you hear him slap things, and it's like that wet meat sound. Yeah.
Jeez.
Yeah.
So I beat Rise.
No spoilers.
I'm keeping it spoiler free. I loved it. I know I've been saying that as I've been progressing through the game the last couple weeks, but it finished very strong. I can't believe nobody's talking about that story. Like everybody's bitching about the game with like the QTEs and all this other stuff. It's like everybody's overlooked that was an amazing campaign.
And we were having an internal discussion with Moss regarding this, and the general consensus is, and this is I've heard it from you, myself, from Angry Andy, my friends, but now I've heard it from people that are not my friends. If you bought the game, you love it. If you were given a review copy, you hate it. It's gotten horrible reviews. It's gotten like 7s across the board. But anybody that spent money on it loves it. I without spoiling anything, what do you think the replayability is of it? Because that was my one concern.
Aside from achievement and collectible hunting, I don't think there's much. Mm-hmm. But it's a game much like The Walking Dead from Telltale was, where you don't want to play it again. Mm-hmm. You walk away and you're satisfied with your experience, and you're just like, I'm okay with this.
Again, it's for me, my comparison to it would be a Roman version of Call of Duty. If you play the Call of Duty campaign, you've played the campaign. There's with exception of collectibles, you've seen what the story
Sammy!
Sam! Some stupid dogs. You've seen what the games have to offer. You know what I mean? But with the exception of multiplayer, which I know we said that we were going to give a shot to at least try.
I actually did try the multiplayer.
Okay.
I played with a random dude online.
Okay.
We were doing awesome.
Okay.
We got through everything. We're doing real good. He was a little less skilled than me. I had to revive him a bunch and stuff. But,
okay.
It was fine. I was actually about to send him a friend request just so I had somebody to play with co-op when nobody else was on. We were doing real well. We got to the big guy and he backed out.
Really?
It's just like, dude, and it fucks up your whole game because it doesn't let me keep going solo. That screen comes up, the other players left the party, you're back at the start menu. It's like, are you fucking kidding? And it puts such a bad taste in my mouth. I put Rise back in the case, I threw it in the drawer on the shelf, popped in Dead Rising, and that was it.
So the multiplayer is like a horde mode?
No, because I think there's two. I think there's straight up multiplayer. This was co-op.
Okay.
There's co-op campaigns.
Okay.
You haven't gotten this far in the game, but this isn't really a spoiler. I'll kind of dance around
it's okay.
it. there's a part in the game where you kind of get thrown into the Coliseum and you get to see how it was.
Okay.
And you're more or less replaying that with a partner.
Okay. Well, see, I
scenery.
I knew because the multiplayer, it's called Coliseum. So.
Yeah.
So that's not really spoiling.
Well, you don't really know what's to expect when you're in the
Well,
Coliseum.
I mean, obviously, we can give it a shot. I'm not going to just back out. Just
it's a lot of fun.
Yeah, we'll give it a shot.
Yeah. Aside from that, I played Stranger's Wrath on the Vita, like I spoke about earlier, because I got it for free. I'd beaten that game like 10 times already. I just wanted to see. I played it for like 20 minutes to see how the port to the Vita was. They did a really good job. I didn't really see any frame rate issues or any lag or anything like that. For the HD collection, I'd much rather play it on my PS3, though. Two more games for the week, because I've had a lot more time. Landscaping's done for the year, so now my arsenal should get a lot bigger every week. I borrowed Zombie U for my Wii U. Put like 3-4 hours into it. That game is garbage. It really, really is. I tried to like it. I stuck with it even after the first 10-15 minutes. Really turned me off, and I was like, all right, just stick with it. Maybe it gets better. Let me try out this tablet functionality, all this other stuff. It's a bad game. Should never have come out. There's I can't think of one redeeming quality on that game. The sad thing is it's close. Like every single part of it is wrong, but could have been easily fixed. If you know what I mean. It's like they didn't nail one thing down right. But it's also one of those games I hear you either hate or love. So if anybody else out there has played it and actually enjoyed it, I'd love to talk about it with somebody else who's played it, because I don't know anybody else who has. Want to grab me one?
Yeah.
Are they cold yet?
I don't know. Yeah, you said.
But in my opinion, yeah, not good. I didn't beat it. I couldn't even I played some bad games before, but nowadays, there's so many games out all the time. It's like, why do you got to sit there and force yourself to play something you're not enjoying?
Yeah.
So I just gave up, and I'm like, fuck this. And the last thing I played was
More!
Yeah, right? 95% of why I finally picked up the 3DS was because of a release that happened last week, and that's
Xbox One!
A Link Between Worlds. And I started that. I'm not real far in it, but maybe 3-4 hours. But I started looking at some walkthroughs to see what I'm missing and all that other shit. And I found...
Where did you find your walkthroughs?
A Zelda dungeon.
You're welcome.
So I realized I kind of went a lot out of order, and I'm not very far in the game. I haven't done anything yet. Because, all I've been doing is walking around, exploring. Mm-hmm. I keep beating up the same shit. I'm collecting rupees, because, the 3DS obviously doesn't have a lot of, RAM and built-in memory, so, it's still plagued by that stuff where, you walk over a screen, and then you come back, and
respawn.
Everything's there again, and all the fucking grass is regrown, and all this other shit. It doesn't really have the power to remember what you've done.
Dog's going in the bathroom.
But
Get out of there.
So I've been collecting rupees like crazy. I've been buying stuff. I already picked up the bottle, which was 100 rupees. I picked up...
Are you renting them, or are you buying them? Because you can rent weapons if you don't have enough.
I was unaware of that. I bought them. I don't know. And then I started looking at...
I haven't tried it yet, so...
I went to the castle already and talked to Zelda and all, without getting into too much, and I got the backstory and all that other stuff. But then I started looking, and it looks like I'm 20 minutes into the game. From what I can gather reading and looking at the screenshots, I'm like, oh, I did that. Oh, I did that. Oh, I did that. And I got down to the 6th screenshot. I'm like, I didn't do that. And
you thought you were a quarter through the game?
Yeah, already? I thought I was tearing through this fucking thing. I didn't do shit yet. I was just going around, exploring, playing.
Because, they chalked the story up to being about 18 hours. That's what I've heard, which is on par with what A Link to the Past was. So, just you being able to explore the world for like 3-4 hours sounds decent. Because obviously, the first thing I'm going to do is just
walk around. Yeah. I almost have it memorized, at least the initial overworld. Like, I heard a bunch of stuff. I tried to stay away.
You haven't gone to low rule yet?
Yeah, I'm trying to stay on, like, blackout about this whole game. Like, I don't want to go too far ahead and, like, have anything spoiled or ruined for me. So, like, I don't really know about what to expect later. But the initial first overworld, I've seen almost all of it without exploring too much. Like, I haven't found too many secrets yet. I haven't blown anything up yet. I haven't, just like where you're able to access. I almost have it all memorized just from like, I'm like, oh, I'm a few screens away from this or go this. Like, I don't have to look at
because the map.
The map's on the bottom, the touch screen, and you're playing on the top. It's also, to its credit, that game is really cool in 3D. I didn't think I'd ever say that because, like, I tried it with the Mario games. Like, 3D Land was okay, but after 5 minutes, you want to turn the slider down. And you're like, oh, it's just giving me a headache. I've played the entire time in 3D, and I didn't think I'd ever do that.
So let me get this straight, okay? Let's do a little review here.
Go ahead.
So last week, Tony said he was going to put the Kinect in the drawer and never use it.
Yes.
Granted, the camera's disabled, but you're using the Kinect.
The voice. I admit it.
Now,
3D's awful, and I'm using it at the Zelda game. I know.
Who are you, and what did you do?
I know. That's what happens. Yeah. It's the only game like that. It's actually it looks crappy in 2D.
Does it?
But it looks really good in 3D. I think you know why I think it's good because like it's that top-down view. Mm-hmm. So it's
isometric.
It's cool. It's cool looking down at yourself playing, and then like you can actually like make out the trees, like the depth like on them, and the buildings, the houses, because you're seeing all the roofs, and then you look down, and I don't know. It actually kind of adds to it. Like whereas, like when I'm playing Mario and it's a side scroller, it's just like I don't want to see the blocks closer to my face.
Yeah,
it's just not worth it. Like. So I really think it's the game that made the 3D cool, not the 3D being worth anything.
Very cool.
I'll have more beaten by next week. Like I said, I don't have much to say on it yet. I like it. It's cool. It's a good game. It's pretty good, Jason.
Yeah, it's pretty good, Tony. It just goes back and forth.
And that's what I played. Horde of the Week 2 weeks in a row.
Yeah. Well, since Mark's not here.
David Letterwood.
That's afterwards. But A for effort.
All right.
Obviously, you're going to stop.
Is it the first 5?
Yeah, you're going to stop where it says ticker because that's going to be the news for the ticker.
All right. First news story of the week. This is the
news.
News.
Dirty, sexy. News.
The extremely dirty, sexy news.
Take some pants off.
Yeah. We get naked on this bitch. Is Sony prepping to make a Last of Us... Oh, shit, what did I do? Make a Last of Us movie. Sony apparently has registered 2 domains within the last week. One of which is lastofusmovie.com, and the other is lastofusmovie.net. Sonya brand protection?
No, Sony. It autocorrect. Sony, yeah.
Sony brand protection agency noticed that the registrations are through Sony Pictures division.
So let's discuss that. I have not played The Last of Us. I saw about 20 minutes worth of footage. Does it warrant a movie? Does this game need to be a movie?
I don't think so. I've said this before. There's I think in many ways video games have passed cinema. Unless you're animating, there's only so much you can do with real people. Whereas with video games, you can tend to get everything's a drawing anyway. In some respects, so it's like I don't know. Like I just maybe it's my age group and just not like I get really critical of movies nowadays. Like, I feel like we grew up during the glory days of action movies with, like, the Die Hards and Indiana Jones
The last
and Star Wars.
movie that I saw in the theater was Evil Dead with you, and that was the spring. I've not been, and I understand. Yeah, part of it is because I don't have to go to the theater to see movies nowadays. But I still enjoy that theater experience. Just nothing's really jumped out. You know, it's a great point.
It's
an undertaking to like get up, get dressed, go buy the movie ticket, get your concessions, find a seat. You know, find a good showtime at a theater where you're not gonna have people, kids kicking the back of your seat and people talking. And the biggest fucking problem I have, and I completely off topic, when people are sitting there at a movie theater and out of the corner of your eye you can see them on their fucking phone. It's like you just spent $20 to see this fucking movie. Watch it.
Yeah, I think it's cool with the movies. It's like you were saying. I mean, the tickets are like $12-$13. Then you grab a drink and a popcorn. It's like it's a $20 experience.
And when's the last time you went to the theater by yourself? It's usually you orchestrate something. You get a couple.
I think for James Bond.
But I'm generally speaking,
I couldn't get anybody to see it
exactly.
with me.
I'm
Forever alone. I love James Bond. I don't give a shit.
But I'm just generally speaking. You try to get people together, and then you got to orchestrate. And
to me, it's the cost per dollar. Like you look at.
I'm just running away left.
I know it's like it's cool. I'll do this one myself. With when you're going to the theater, it's $20 roughly for an hour and a half to 2 hours of entertainment. With a video game, even the shortest campaigns are like 6-7 hours. Plus, there's always multiplayer on top of that, and replayability for $60. People always say video games are too expensive. I disagree. When you look at the cost per hour, not much beats a video game.
Yeah. And I mean, on top of that too, you said it, but there's also when there is a movie, like for instance the new Hobbit movie, that thing's gonna be like 3.5 hours long. It's fun to watch movies, but I'd rather watch them in the comfort of my own home, sitting on the couch, where if I need to pause the movie to get up to go to the bathroom. As to where, with a video game, it's prime. That's a prime example.
I'm sleepy. Save. Pick it up tomorrow.
You progress at your own pace as opposed to a preset time of the movie starts at 7, ends at 10.
It's not even just that. Like, I think the storytelling has really come alive this past generation. There's been some incredible gems, PS2 and before, story wise, but without really doing the math in my head and counting it out, I think story-wise, there's been as many gems since the invention of video gaming to the PS2. We got the exact same amount probably in just the PS3 and the Xbox.
Yeah, that's an accurate.
Like story.
I would say that's an accurate assumption.
Not great games, not best games of all time. None of that. I'm saying story. And we're getting better and better every year.
Yeah, I mean, because a lot of the stories back in the days were kind of left up to your own imagination. Like, yes,
a lot of games had none. A lot of games. It doesn't take anything away from the games.
What's the story behind Super Mario Brothers?
Yeah, doesn't mean it's not a good game.
Doesn't even tell you that you're going after a princess at when you first start. You just stop. You make it up as you go. But I would almost agree with you that like just on a story aspect, the past 10 years are probably
have eclipsed the first 30.
Very accurate. Yeah.
And I see that continuing into the future, and that's, I mean, you look at the mega blockbusters that have come out, just this past year, like Last of Us or fucking Tomb Raider and stuff. Those are better than any movie I've seen in the last 5 years.
And I know you didn't really get into it, but like Grand Theft Auto, as a story for a video was fucking phenomenal.
Yeah. That's what I'm saying. It's just, and that's just this year.
You couldn't even fit that story in a movie. It would be a mini series.
That's half the problem too. Is the movies are limited to an hour and a half, 2 hours, whereas like The Last of Us took so long to engross you in the way that it did, and to give you that sense of isolation and despair and just no hope for the future. It took them 20 hours to get that across. Whereas if that was limited to a movie, I don't know if you'll feel the same way walking out of the theater.
No.
It's probably a cash grab. I'll go see it.
What
you know what I
about-
mean? I'm infatuated with the world surrounding The Last of Us. I think it's a great universe. So I'd check it out, but I'd much rather see Last of Us 2 on the PS4. Much rather see that.
There's some extreme cases, like you said. Usually, it takes countless hours to develop the narrative and the story and make you feel about the characters and everything. I think that with the exception would be like The Walking Dead, where in reality that game's like 5 hours. You could probably break that down into a movie. I don't know, and you wouldn't have the same connection because with that you have to make the choices.
That's what I was gonna say. I don't think you'd have the emotional involvement you did with that game because that's another big problem with movies is you have no say.
Unless you go to one of those stupid interactive movies, which those do exist.
Beyond Two Souls. But yeah, like
Heavy Rain.
Yeah, more or less.
Heavy Rain.
Jason.
Just because Mark's not here doesn't mean he's not going to keep up the tradition.
There's nothing wrong with movies. I enjoy movies as much as the next guy, but all these little things that we're discussing is why I feel that Last of Us probably won't make a very good movie. And this is why I think a lot of video games that get turned into movies suffer.
And on the exact flip side, I think there's just some movies that can't transition well into a video game.
Has been shown time after time. They're also given Activision and pushed out in 3 months, so they usually suck. But I mean, if they were actually given to a talented developer who had a year to make the game, maybe you'd get a quality game out of it. But
sure.
I don't know.
See, Mark, this is your fault. So, that one.
EA's Battlefield 4 is broken. Multiple outlets are reporting game saves becoming corrupted on the PS3 server, PS4,
Sorry.
server secure problems on PC, and issues downloading the Time DLC on the Xbox One. So essentially, all next-gen platforms and the PC are having multiple issues with the Battlefields. I've heard a lot about this. Mine's still sitting in cellophane. I haven't popped it in yet. That's going to be... I was talking about talking to Jason with this before we started recording, that the games I've picked for PS4 and the Xbox One, I'm knocking out the campaigns right now on like Killzone and Rise and Dead Rising and shit like that. And there's not much coming out till February. We have like a 2-month gap of nothing now. So after I knock out all my campaigns... my initial plan was my focus was my PS4. I was going to play a shit ton of Battlefield 4. And on my Xbox, I was going to play a shit ton of Forza. That's why I haven't really touched those too much yet. Those are the 2 games that are going to bring me into when more games launch. And so I haven't even touched Battlefield. So maybe by the time I get set up, they'll have...
I would say, because my understanding is it's not even just the multiplayer.
Yeah, people are losing complete
campaign saves on the PS4. So, I forgot who it was. Either I want to say it was Kevin Pereira, that I was reading on Twitter last night, that like he was actually on the phone with Microsoft and EA trying to get it resolved, like what the issues is, and they even they said, oh well, it'll fix. You know what your problem is? You need to reset your network, your online network. It's just like, really. So
I don't know, EA's blaming Sony, Sony's blaming EA. I think this is an EA problem because if it was just the PS4, it might have been a Sony issue. Sure. If it was just the Xbox One, it might have been a Microsoft issue. It is the Xbox One, the PS4, and the PC, but it's Sony, Microsoft, and PC's fault. Yeah. No, of course not. It's EA's fault.
And in reality, just like any story, it's probably a dozen people who are having issues that are speaking up and creating...
The vocal minority.
Exactly. The game's probably running fine. I'm sure some of our listeners out there have played it and it's running fine for them. Or maybe they had a few problems and everything's smooth now. But, it still goes back to the whole thing of... I think that's the problem. One of the major problems with such an online infrastructure nowadays is stuff's rolling out when it's not ready. You know,
you always have that safety valve now. Like before, a game had to be ready before launch.
Yeah.
If there was a problem, it was permanently broken.
Mm-hmm.
That's where all those infamous glitches come from, like
Yeah.
with Ninja Turtles and like all that other shit.
Mm-hmm.
Like nowadays, if something's not ready, they're like, we'll patch it later.
Mm-hmm.
There's like that safety valve where it's just like, well, get it out the door. Let's start making money. We'll fix it in the coming weeks.
Yeah.
That's a bad mentality to have. So.
Mm-hmm. I agree.
PlayStation Plus games for December. Ooh, we never conclude this in the news. I like it.
There's another one there too. After PlayStation. PlayStation, and we're gonna cover the Xbox games for gold.
Okay. PlayStation Plus will be giving away Borderlands 2 and Grid 2 on the PS3. Urban Trial Freestyles, which is the Trials knockoff. Sonic and All-Star Racing Transformed, and the PSN game Dyad. Is that a game? I never even heard of that.
Apparently, and I double checked the spelling on it.
And Games for Gold on the original Xbox, or not, sorry, excuse me, the 360 is giving away Gears of War and Shoot Many Robots, keeping with their tradition of giving away 7-year-old games.
Here's the interesting part. We'll jump into the Games for Gold first because that's obviously the weaker of the two. Never ever heard of Shoot Many Robots.
I have.
Have you?
Yeah, I think it's like 2 years old. I was on the fence of buying it, but...
Okay, so are you going to download it?
Yeah, it looks cool.
Spring?
It look cool.
And then we have Gears of War, which phenomenal game. If you haven't played it, definitely download it. But if you bought Judgment, they gave it to you for free.
And if you've been to a GameStop in the last
like
2 years, it's like $2.
Yeah.
In the bargain bin.
So, I mean, if you want to save yourself the hard drive space, just go out and buy it. You know, I mean, Microsoft has picked. They're giving away at least a AAA game a month. It's just kind of sad that it's
7 years old.
Yeah.
Like Halo 3,
Yeah.
Gears of War, fucking Assassin's Creed 2.
2.
Like, they're great games.
Yeah, but
7-year-old games. A lot's happened.
Yeah, you know, I mean,
And then you look at Sony giving away Soul Sacrifice came out this year, and they gave it away already.
Borderlands 2
last year
came out last year.
They're
September
giving it away
last
already.
year.
It's just it's night and fucking day.
And I'm gonna download it again. Even though I've beat the hell out of that game, I've got half the DLC packs on Xbox. I'm gonna download it. I sold my Borderlands 2 to help pay for my Xbox One. Yeah, I'm gonna download that and probably play through it again on the PlayStation.
Yeah.
Grid got fairly good reviews. I remember seeing some videos of it. I'll probably download that too. I wish it was Dirt 3 because I'd rather do the Gincana stuff, but, you know, take what you can get. On the Vita front, because that's more of your end, there was the Freestyle Trials Evolution.
That's on the Vita?
Yeah, that's the
I
Vita.
think that game was on Vita.
Yeah, they're giving the Vita version of it. That's my understanding. So there's that, which I don't even think I'll queue that in my download, to be honest. If I want to play Trials, I'm going to play Trials. But there's one on there that you might be interested in.
Sonic All-Stars Racing?
Yeah.
I heard it's good, but I don't really care.
I mean, you're going to download it, though.
Oh, yeah, of course.
And then I have no information on that last game.
Never even heard of it, and I'm pretty in tune with the...
I've heard, like, where I grabbed the story from, they said it's a good game. It was, I don't know, I'm going to look into it.
The only one out of this that I'm actually looking forward to, this to me is kind of a weaker month, might be Borderlands. I'm not a big fan of Borderlands 2, but what I am curious about is because that game's coming to the Vita.
Mm-hmm.
And if I pick that up on sale one day or they give it away on PlayStation Plus for the Vita, that would be interesting if they are cross-compatible. Because Borderlands 2 on the go would be awesome. If you could level up like on the train or just screwing around and you're just adding to your character, knocking out some DLC, that's cool. You're just mining for fucking that purple ore, which I don't even remember what the hell it's called anymore because it's been so long since I played. Yeah,
Iridium.
Because I haven't played that game in forever. But you're just doing shit like that on the go. That's a good idea.
I did notice on this December list that there is a lack of announcements for PlayStation 4 for PlayStation Plus.
You won't get those for a while. There's no games.
Yeah, and no Xbox One, which, okay, you know, I understand. There's nothing really available.
There's only 4 games on Xbox One right now.
Give away a fucking movie or something, you know? I mean, something.
PlayStation, I think PlayStation will beat them to the punch. It'll probably be in a month or two.
Yeah.
I think they're more concerned with manufacturing
No, I get
consoles as opposed to getting deals to give away free
but,
games.
I mean, on the flip side, you have Drive Club, which was supposed to be
It's still going to be free.
for PlayStation Plus. It was supposed to be out by now.
Yeah, it's not. It's delayed till February, I think.
Yeah, that's a good choice because nobody. If somebody had 2 consoles, you're going to play Forza over Drive Club. I don't care if they're giving it to you for free or not.
Yeah.
You're going to play Forza over it.
Next story.
The stories kind of start dropping from here because it was a slow week.
Telltale's has begun developing a Game of Thrones game, and all signs point to it being a next-gen star. What the fuck?
What happened?
I can't read
Let me
any
see.
of it. Okay, and all signs point to the next-gen Star Wars game being open world.
Yeah, I started combining. Okay, so let's start. So we have
Oh.
two game.
I thought it was like Telltale. I'm like,
No,
Telltale's
no,
not
no.
doing a Star Wars.
They want
game.
to.
Yeah,
They'll
they'll probably get it.
Yeah. All right. So first off, that's your area. Game of Thrones. I've only seen episode 1 of season 1. How is that going to transition into a Telltale game?
I don't know, because with the exception of Back to the Future, Telltale has taken universes and built stories that coincide with what has already happened.
Okay.
You know what I mean? Jurassic Park, you're not dealing with any of the real Jurassic Park characters. Walking Dead, you're really not dealing, except with the exception of who's in it, Herschel?
Herschel and Glenn.
Yeah. But you know, you're dealing with a second side story. They did that.
You're in the universe, but you're not controlling those.
Yeah.
But, see, I don't know about Wolf Among Us though. That's
Wolf Among Us, apparently, I've never read the comics. Apparently, you are playing as the main character in Wolf Among Us.
Okay.
And that if that comic is half as cool as that game,
heard it is.
that's going to be a badass comic.
Heard it is.
But yeah, I forgot about Wolf Among Us. I guess that kind of puts a needle in my. In my
I mean,
theory.
whatever though. I mean,
But the thing with Game of Thrones is I don't know what they would do. Like, if it was a second story on the side, they could do literally whatever the hell they want. If they had a... Because Game of Thrones is much like Walking Dead, whereas if you were into the comics of Walking Dead, you know what's going to happen before it happens on the show.
Because Game of Thrones is based on a book.
Game of Thrones is the same way.
Yeah.
Like, Brian's laughing at me because I text him when like an episode airs and I watch it and he's like, ha ha ha, read the books, because he knows it's
I
coming.
do the exact same thing with Walking Dead. Just
Yeah.
like tonight's episode is the governor. No spoilers. The governor standing at the prison gates with a fucking tank, and I'm like, oh my god, it's gonna happen! Finally.
So he knows it's going. He still enjoys the show and stuff, but he's
What was that? That Red Wedding or whatever it was? That
Yeah.
everybody got all excited about.
it was messed up.
But like everybody knew before. Like you,
I didn't fucking
you didn't
know.
but you
and I saw it. I'm like, what the hell, dude? And
Yeah.
Brian's like, nah.
Yeah, of course.
So like, that's what I'm saying. So if they have to like strictly stay within the world of Game of Thrones, I don't know. I trust Telltale.
It's gonna have a slow sex mini scene.
Yeah,
Mini game.
yeah, that's all it is.
Naked people and midgets everywhere.
I don't know how well it would translate. I mean, they could take one of the side stories really well. So
That's what I was gonna. Again, I haven't read the books.
Or they could focus on one of the lesser utilized characters in the show.
Mm-hmm.
There's a lot of side characters that only make an appearance here and there that are doing all these crazy things that you don't really know about. Like, I don't know, there's like the main son who got paralyzed, and he's kind of on this like... Spoilers for the show, but not really for the book, because this is probably fucking 5 books ago. But he's kind of lost in the woods with a guide. I can't think of their names because I'm out of the show because I haven't seen it in 8 months. But the main family son is paralyzed, and he's kind of in the woods with a guide and a brother and sister. Mm-hmm. And they're just kind of like... They pop in here and there to do like a little something, but if it was like their story, something like that might work. But if they took like the main story of Game of Thrones, I don't know. I don't know how it would work.
Curious.
I really don't know.
If we've got, with
whole
exception of
thing-
you, Brian, if we've got any Game of Thrones fans out there who have read the books I mean, is there an extended universe here? Are we just like that vague that we're only focusing on the TV show?
That's a possibility. All we have to
exactly.
go on.
You know,
I'm the only one that's seen it. Neither of us have read the books. That's all we have.
So, with exception of you, Brian, because you don't count, I want to hear from everybody. You know, what do you guys think? You know, are we missing the point here? Is there this vast like Star Wars-esque, extended universe that we're missing that they can cherry pick from, or
the whole thing could be on the wall, and that would be cool. Mm-hmm. The whole fucking game could be on the wall.
Yeah,
I mean, I don't know, man. There's a lot. That's where I think they'd have to go is pick a small part and do that.
So now we already know that Battlefield or Battlefront is in development for Star Wars. They've all but confirmed that. But now, what is your take on a open world Star Wars game? How do you feel about that? So, what I'm picturing is something along the lines of a Legend of Zelda Fable-esque adventure game set in a Star Wars.
I'm gonna play it.
Universe.
I'm a pretty big Star Wars fan. I like that universe a lot. To tell you the truth, with Battlefront, I'd like to see Force Unleashed 3 and close out that trilogy before they do anything else. Mm-hmm. I know a lot of people are waiting for KOTOR 3, which I wouldn't mind either. But first and foremost, I want Force Unleashed 3, and I want that closed. I want that chapter of cloning done. I want to see what happens. Mm-hmm. And unfortunately, due to the backlash of Force Unleashed 2, which was not deserved, it was just a short game. It was still excellent. I don't think they're going to fund that ever again.
Never know. Disney did cancel the theme park expansions that it was working on for Star Wars. So who knows?
Yeah, I don't know.
Interesting news since we are on Star Wars. They just announced this week that they moved the release date of the World of Warcraft movie back, so it's nowhere near the release of Star Wars movie in 2015.
Dude, that's like Call of Duty. You stay far as fuck as you can.
I don't care. Like
You don't.
I've seen Star Wars. I appreciate Star Wars. I am not a diehard Star Wars fan. I don't get into arguments of who shot first, Han or Greedo.
It was Han.
Whatever. I can appreciate them. I like the movies. I own them. I will go opening day to see the Star Wars movie. I will experience
the fucking Wars, man.
Yeah.
You got it.
I will, and if you're listening, Kim, I will force you to go see the Star Wars movies. She hates them.
I don't know how you can. It's one of the greatest stories ever told.
Yeah.
I don't get into the super extended universe, but like strictly off the movies, it's such a good time. Like why? I don't get dressed up and like do cosplay and stuff. I'm not that into it. They're good movies. I like watching.
I've had a lightsaber fight before. in GameStop back in 2005 when they sold the $200 replicas.
Really?
Oh yeah. Broke that fucking thing.
Defective. All right. And what do we got left?
Let's see here.
There's one more, right?
Yeah. There's some industry news, some shifts and changes, and some slides and movements.
Yeah.
There's a couple of moves there, so I figure you'd be interested in that. I didn't write down names.
Yeah, the Halo 4 programmer joins Naughty Dog. That's very vague. Mm-hmm. That's the one I actually know the most about.
Yeah.
Bungie hires a Skyrim community modder as a designer, and he's only 19. Mm-hmm. I read that as well. And Guerrilla Games hires one of the Fallout New Vegas writers. Mm-hmm. All right. Let's start with that last one.
Okay. Yeah, that's probably the...
That's not too bad because Guerrilla makes some of the prettiest games in the industry, but they're also some of the blandest story-wise.
They've the Killzone franchise in particular has always been described as a beautiful blonde who's dumber than a box of rocks.
Yeah. So
no offense to any beautiful blondes, and if there are some listening,
or if anyone on the Guerrilla
pictures,
or if anyone, or no offense to anyone who's on Guerrilla Cambridge that actually tunes into the show, which I highly doubt. But if you are. I like your games.
I was going to say, if you are, at least send this guy a fucking t-shirt or something.
Yeah, I love your shit.
He's all over
I think Mercenaries was the best story that the Killzone franchise has ever had. I've played all 4. I haven't beaten the newest one.
Yeah.
Or I've played all 5, excuse me.
Yeah.
The only one I haven't played is the PSP one, but that wasn't even them, so whatever. That was Sony Bend, I think.
Those bastards.
Sony Bend. Fuck you, Sony. No, I like Sony Bend too. Dude. That's a good company too, man.
Feel free to send them a shirt.
Yeah. Uncharted Golden Abyss was awesome. Some new writing probably wouldn't hurt. Like, if they were like, oh, we need a new lead design animator, I'd question that because they make gorgeous looking games. Yeah. You need help putting a story together.
Yeah.
So the other one was, a community modder from Skyrim who's only like 19. Just got hired.
Hired by Bungie.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Good for him. I mean, hey, sometimes that's the best way to find talent. It's like...
That's how Left 4 Dead was made. The guys who made Left 4 Dead were modders for Counter-Strike. Counter-Strike or Half-Life?
Half-Life's the original. Counter-Strike's a mod to...
But I'm saying the actual thing that it might have even been the original Team Fortress that they used, whatever they used. But that they made that, and then Valve brought them in and said, we want to hire you guys.
Make a game.
Yeah. So it's awesome when, with all the times that you hear studios closing and this person losing their job and then this guy leaving, the completely irrelevant John Carmack leaving ID Software and blah, 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 which was in the ticker last week. It's nice to hear that they reach out to people in the community and bring them in.
Mm-hmm. And then Naughty Dog went and poached from 343. Mm-hmm. This chick, her name escapes me at the minute.
She's
She's
got an Asian name.
She's a big deal.
Yeah, is she?
She wrote like the last 3-4 Halos in parts.
Okay.
And she helped out.
She wrote the last 3-4. There's only 6.
She's been with them a while.
I'm just saying.
So she's kind of a big deal. She's like one of the heads.
Okay.
Of the company. She's not like some little like fucking programmer.
She's not some proofreader.
Yeah, she's a big deal, and this doesn't hurt Naughty Dog, which is probably the best developer in our industry right now, to bring on some talent, some extremely good talent to their creative team. She's probably getting moved right to the top of Naughty Dog too. She's probably gonna be one of the 2 or 3 highest people in that company right off the bat because of her pedigree. I'm curious to see what she does with Uncharted 4 now.
Speaking of Uncharted 4, there's been a very small nugget of news. Amy, and I don't remember her last name.
The chick who writes it, yeah.
She is returning to write Uncharted 4. So I guess that'll at least alleviate a little bit of that possible Gears, God of War, number 4 issues that people have been, that seems to be the thing is like, once they hit that number 4 in the series, they kind of, a little bit, Batman jumped it by 1, but if she's coming, because like the chick who wrote the Gears games, Karen Travis, who wrote the Gears games, she did not write Judgment. And I think one of my biggest issues, besides the change in gameplay mechanics, was the lack of real depth of story with it. So as long as the original writer is still there, you're at least going to have some continuity and some integrity in the story.
Can we turn that screensaver off?
We can, but...
I'm getting tired of getting up and doing it once an episode.
You get that little touch thing and you can just jiggle it.
Just jiggle it.
Yeah, put the book back. Or knock down Crash.
Sorry, I'll do it later. I feel like fucking around with it right now.
Yeah, this little guy is.
But, yeah, I'm pretty excited to see what happens. I feel bad for Bungie, but I'm happy that it
343? Or is it Bungie or 343?
I think it was Bungie.
Okay.
Don't you have it written down? Stupid. Pretty sure it was, oh, Halo, yeah. Well, could have been either one.
Yeah.
I'm not sure where she came
Either
from.
way.
She's working
It's a blow to the Halo franchise.
Starting to get worried about a lot of Microsoft's arsenal. Like, Halo has been losing programmers. Gears has been losing programmers. Like
Speaking
Fable's been losing programmers. The only studio not in complete shambles
Turn
is
10?
Turn 10. That's it. Lionhead 343 and fucking Epic are just like...
Here's a bonus little nugget that I've heard about is that apparently there's talk of rebooting the Gears franchise. I don't know how I feel about that.
Already? It doesn't need a reboot yet.
I think when they're like not focusing on Marcus, like taking the story away from Delta,
the whole group of characters
that you love and care about, and sticking them in a generic environment with a bunch of recycled enemies. That's what it sounds like to me.
Yeah.
That's news for
News!
you. Now you can here for the matchbook. Yeah. Well then, I guess it's time for.
All right. Oh God. Is it time for?
We're gonna start it off with our friend Johnny Morsey sent in a question.
So Johnny?
He said, "Why haven't they made an HD version of Gauntlet Legends yet?"
That's a tremendous question.
Is it?
You know...
I have a short answer. Because that game sucked.
Oh, I'll kill your face, dude. You know what? Gauntlet Legends would be... okay. That would not work well as an HD remake. That game would need an HD upscaling, like what they're doing with Abe's Odyssey right now. In all honesty, that game
They
would
just
not
want to make a new one.
It wouldn't. You can take all the same story, all the same. You'd have to update that game severely.
Gauntlet has a story?
Everything about it, you wouldn't be able to simply just
I know.
like make that look prettier. You'd have to revamp the game, or else it just wouldn't play very well. It's another game that's really fondly remembered, but if you go back and try it now, man, I'd like to see that, and I'd love to see a Hunter upscaling. Hunter was a blast, and if we could play that over Xbox Live, Hunter the Reckoning and Hunter.
Oh, okay.
The last two good games that Voltage out here in
Okay.
Chicago made before they went soft and started making shovelware.
Conduit wasn't bad.
Yeah,
Well, I mean, it wasn't bad.
yeah. That's about
Shut
it.
up, man. Mark's got an interview with them. All right. So
They know what they're doing. They know that they're fucking selling out. I'm not exactly giving away industry secrets here. Voltage hasn't. Hey, if you're listening, Voltage, bring back Hunter.
Barrington.
HD remake. That's one sale. I'll buy it. You have one.
That's one more than Conduit 2.
Oh, that game was sucked.
All right. Next question comes from Magnus. Magnus asked, "How do you like your peanut butter and jelly sandwiches?"
Well, what I do.
So like your cereal, where you pour the milk first?
Yeah, but that just makes logical sense. This is how I make my PB&Js. I throw my two pieces flat, and
You don't stand them up?
no. I take the peanut butter first, and I'm a fan of both. I know there's the hashtag crunchy, hashtag
Creamy?
creamy. I'm a big fan of both, so I don't really care what's available. And I tend to go with that one on one slice. And then I take strawberry or grape, but I prefer strawberry jelly. And I put that on the other piece of bread. And then I make them kiss.
Like so?
Then I eat them shits.
I am more of a fan of crunchy peanut butter if I had to pick one. I also prefer grape over strawberry.
What, you think you're better than me?
A little bit, but there's a couple of ways, and I mean we can get into the marshmallow fluffs and the banana and all that, but we're gonna keep it simple.
You know best with PB&J.
Marshmallow fluffs is shit though. Okay. Anyways, so we're gonna keep it simple. Here's the best peanut butter and jelly sandwich I've ever had. Okay, ever. Take 2 pieces of bread. You toast them. As soon as they're out of the toaster, slight slathering of peanut butter on both pieces of bread. Then you apply the jelly to the center.
Then
It's
make
delicious.
it kiss.
It's delicious.
Then it kiss.
Because it warms up the peanut butter enough where it gets nice and gooey.
I don't want toasted bread on my PB&J. I like regular bread.
It's a light. It's not like
You set the toaster to 2 or 3.
Yeah,
so fucking
it's
7.
yeah. So it just warms it up just enough, and it's absolutely delicious. I think I'm gonna make one when we're done. Moving on. Lysios. Lysios. I know. I'm still. You know what? You're Lysios. I say you're Lysios. What are you gonna do about it?
I say we call him L Dog.
L Dog. Sup, G?
What's up, L Dog?
He sent in a question a while back, but we're going to go ahead and answer it now. He asked, what are your top 3 favorite horror movies? And what are your top 3 favorite action movies? Now, Tony and I have answered the horror movie question.
I'll go over it again.
Yeah. We answered it a year ago. If you want a really in-depth look at what we think of horror movies, go way back to last year to the first
Halloween
ever
cast.
Blacklist Halloween cast. I think it's episode 2 because we did a 2-part for the Blacklist. And we cover our top 25 horror movies, I believe it was.
But that was a cumulative.
Yeah.
So there was a lot of finicking back and forth
Oh, yeah.
and deciding. And
But check that out.
Yeah.
But we can
our buddy
jump right
buddy
into it now.
Dave's on that one.
Yeah.
Okay.
Apparently he returns once a year just to do the Halloween show.
Yeah, he's like the Undertaker.
Yeah. He'll appreciate that.
I'll kick it off with shit. I don't know which one should we do first, horror or
Let's do horror because we've already covered horror. So you do your number 3, and then I'll do my number 3. You want me to do my number 3 first? So you
I want to plan this out so I don't fuck up. I know my number 1.
Okay. All right. Number 3 horror movie for me would have to be the original Night of the Living Dead. If I had to pick a horror franchise, like,
Okay, I smell what you're cooking.
okay, number 3, original black and white Night of the Living Dead. It still holds up today. You can still watch that movie. There's nothing fancy about it. It's gritty. It's dark. It's damn near perfect.
Go out on a limb here and say the original Scream.
Okay, I can see
number
that.
3.
Going with the modern as to where I went with the OG, you went with the modern.
I have some OGs. If we did top 5,
it's okay, it's
if we
okay.
had top 5, I'd throw like Dracula. and shit
I can
there.
appreciate Scream. Scream really revolutionized the horror franchise. It took the elements of how slasher flicks had always kind of been funny. They're not supposed to be funny, but they were funny, and it really
Made fun of itself.
It played
but,
on that,
but was still creepy. And during the first one, you didn't know the Scream formula yet.
Yeah, that you didn't understand the format.
Yeah, so it was still like a murder mystery. You didn't find out till the end. There was clues. You're like, oh, is it him? Is it him? Is it him? Wait, it's her. No, it's him. And
Yeah.
the whole movie, you're fighting with yourself.
Fucking Henry Winkler.
Then
Winkler's in it.
then a spoiler on a fucking 17-year-old movie, but it turns out to be 2 killers at the end. Nobody saw that shit coming.
Yeah.
Because when I was watching it the first time, I'm like, dude, it's the boyfriend. Dude, it's the boyfriend.
See, I always
Then-
thought it was fucking David Arquette.
Really?
Yeah.
Then the boyfriend's in jail and another murder happens. It's like it can't be the fucking boyfriend. Then at the end, turns out it's the boyfriend, but he's got an accomplice. So I love that movie. It's funny. It's well thought out. It's well acted. It's everything. Screams got consecutively worse as they went along, but the first one,
Have you seen number 4?
yeah, it's not good.
I liked 4 over 3.
Well, yeah, it's not hard to do.
Hey, 3 had Jay and Silent Bob in it.
It's about its only redeeming quality.
Connie fucking Chung.
Two was okay, because 2 had a lot of that good humor too, where it was making fun of the fact that it was a sequel, and that sequel is by.
I don't like the actor, and I can never remember his name. He's been in a bunch of shit. He was in The Manchurian Candidate and stuff. He's the guy who never opens his mouth when he talks. He talks like this. His mouth doesn't. He was her new boyfriend in 2. I don't remember his name.
Oh, that dude with the well-coiffed hair.
Yeah, and again, he never really opens his mouth when he talks. It's like his jaw doesn't really
I
work
love
properly.
I love that actor who plays the killer in number 2.
Mm-hmm.
That guy, he's from like Go.
Yeah.
And he's from
And
that
then-
guy's
and then fucking Aunt
now he's
Jackie.
got his own show,
Does he?
Justified.
Okay.
Yeah, it's like a cowboy show. That guy's an awesome actor.
And Aunt Jackie.
Yeah.
Aunt Jackie from Roseanne. Number 2, it's going to be hard to pick one specific one, but I'm going to have to go with Jason Takes Manhattan.
Okay.
Okay. Just because that one was so... in a franchise of Friday the 13th movies, when they just progressively got weirder and weirder and weirder.
Until there was Jason in space.
Which I loved. I love them.
Thing's a hot pile of trash.
That's why I love it. That's why I love it. They knew what they were making. Do you want to smoke some marijuana? Do you want to have premarital sex? You see his eyes get all big. Scene cuts away, he cuts back, he's bashing the bitch in the fucking... It was great.
Oh, shit.
It was great. They knew that they were making a pile of shit there. By the way, it is confirmed that the 13th Friday the 13th movie will be out next year. Supposedly, it's going to be a lost footage movie, which might play pretty well with a slasher flick. But the reason I say Jason Takes Manhattan, because it has one of the most iconic scenes that I can remember in a Friday the 13th movie. It's probably got the greatest kill I've ever seen, and that's when Jason Voorhees uppercuts a guy's head off. And it goes rolling off the roof and down the fucking alley. Brilliant! Love it. In reality, though, I'd probably say I can't pick one specific movie. So for my number 2, I'm gonna bend the rules a little bit and say the Friday the 13th franchise is my number 2.
Okay.
For me.
I know what my number 1 is.
Oh, I know what your number 1 is.
My number 2 is like 6 movies in one. I'm gonna go with an off the wall one here. Freddy vs. Jason.
Loved it.
Here's why, because this is a cop-out for me, because I'm a big fan of the Nightmare. I was going to pick the original Nightmare on Elm Street. Mm. Then I started thinking about the new Nightmare, which I know is the other best one in the Nightmare on Elm Street.
Yeah.
I think those are the 2 best. The original...
Dream Child was cool.
Yeah, well, those are my 2 favorites, though.
Dream Child? Yeah, Dream
Yeah.
Child. It's been a while.
Because I loved the first one, and the second... The new Nightmare was so cool because it took you out of it and showed that all the movies that came before it were fake. They were, in fact, cinema. And that Freddy was now real.
Interesting. It's almost like... And another Wes Craven movie is kind of what he did in Scream 3. Where they were making the movie...
No, Scream 2, where they were watching...
They were watching... But in Scream 3, they're in Hollywood making the movie.
Yeah,
remember?
Yeah.
Interesting. See a trend here.
Yeah, Wes
like that
Craven.
Inception
What's going on with that, Wes
like
Craven?
That Inception shit.
But I love the Friday the 13th series as well, and they're both so iconic to me that when they finally met, I'm going to culminate both those franchises into that. And what made me think of that is when you were saying iconic scenes. I thought it was really well out how they made the 2 face each other. And, like, how they made the story actually kind of work, where Freddy was down on power, and he used Jason to kill people on Elm Street to make people think it was Freddy Krueger, and he started gaining his power and momentum through that, then planning a comeback, but at that point, Jason was a running away train, so he had to stop him. And there was that first time that they met, where the flames are going, and, like...
Which is, like, the beginning of Act 3, is literally.
And to me, like... wanting to see something like this for as long as I've been watching this, which has been my entire life.
When you think about it, the Final Friday came out in like 94, I think it was. And that's when they teased it, if you remember. That's when the hand comes up.
Freddy Krueger's claw comes and pulls Jason's mask out.
And I mean, it took 10 years for it to happen.
Yeah. So to me, it was like this big culmination point where it was like... Like, to me, that's one of the two coolest scenes in horror movies ever.
Granted, the movie was completely over the top and ridiculous and campy.
Yeah.
But it was great to see.
It was a great fan.
Oh, yeah. That's
piece.
all it was complete fan service.
Yeah.
Building off of that, okay, is that franchise... Those two meeting have resonated so well that it has spanned into other things, like comic books, which brought us Freddy versus Jason versus Ash. Okay, which leads to my number one, which is Evil Dead 2. That is my favorite horror movie of all time because that movie, regardless of how absolutely insanely ridiculous it is, it does the greatest trick I've ever seen in a movie. It'll have you laughing 1 second, but kind of that uneasy laugh, and then the next minute, you're absolutely fucking frightened. I remember the first time I watched the movie, it was Christmas night. Okay, I was at home alone watching it. I had to turn on every light in the house just because. And it wasn't that it was scary. It just made me very uneasy and didn't want to be alone. And it's ridiculous to say when you talk about a movie who's the man chops off his hand and then his hand flips him off. Okay, and there's a flying eyeball that a chick swallows. But regardless of all that, it's that uneasy feeling where it's funny. But it's that uneasy funny, and just the way that it plays out. I absolutely love that movie. You got the Army of Darkness poster back there. It's one of the few non-video game posters that I've snuck in to the wall. Mm-hmm. But my number one, and also a great comic, which I will let you read someday, because that is fucking awesome.
Is that on Comixology?
I don't know.
My number
I
one.
have them now.
My number one is the original Halloween from the 70s, John Carpenter at his finest. He kicked off, in my opinion, the greatest era of slasher films, not horror films, slasher films, in history, which ended probably... He started in the late 70s and it ended in the late 90s, I want to say. So it went on for a good 20-something years, which to me was like the bread and butter of the horror genre. It was like the best time where great movies were popping out every year because of what John Carpenter did with that original movie. And you go back, and the kill count's not that high. It wasn't that insane. It wasn't that over the top because it didn't have... Nobody was trying to one-up it yet because it was the first. Mm-hmm. Nobody had to have more gruesome kills. Nobody had to have a higher death toll or count. It was the original with that. And what he did and how spooky he made Michael Myers was truly amazing. I mean, you had two characters that came out to combat Michael Myers. Freddy and Jason, which are the big three along with Michael Myers, were created because of Michael Myers, because of what John Carpenter did. It was not spin-offs, but competition. You know what I mean? We may have never seen them had it not been for Halloween 1. You know, you had a couple great careers get based off it.
That's the 3 covers of the comic.
Well, that's pretty cool. But yeah, that movie's great. If you haven't seen it yet, I don't know what the hell you're doing with your life, but definitely go watch it. It's good stuff. Halloween.
All right, so the second part. Top 3 action films. It's going to be kind of tough. It's going to be a little tough, I think.
Number 3.
Okay.
Die Hard. I don't know if I want to go with 1 or 3 because they're pretty equally awesome.
You gotta go with 1.
Yeah, I'll just go with 1.
And I'm gonna agree with you. We're gonna have the same number 3.
What they did with John McClane is so cool. I mean, he had to take back hijacked skyscraper on Christmas Eve that his wife, that he was having marital problems with at the time, was trapped in because he's a New York cop, if you haven't seen the movie, and he's out in L.A. Mm-hmm. And terrorists overtake a building, and there's so much action and blood and gore and shooting and awesome explosions, and he's doing it all without shoes. The guy lost his shoes very early in the.
And his only communication to the outside world is fucking the dad from
Family Matters. Carl Winslow. Yeah. Who
always plays a cop.
Yeah. What the hell, dude? Yeah, that's like his buddy on the other side. And didn't he have the limo driver too?
Was it the limo driver? Yeah.
But he doesn't play as integral of a role. He's in the beginning and the end, but he helps him one time in the middle. He's like, hey, you got to drive the car in and trap this guy or some shit. And he does it.
It's been a while.
Die Hard's fucking awesome. I like 3 a lot too. But
yes. Well, 3 introduced one of the greatest characters in movies of all time, played by Samuel Jackson.
Really?
Yeah.
I thought he was a douche in that movie.
That's what made him. That's what makes him great, though.
I liked that movie for everything but Samuel L. Jackson. I loved the games, like how sick that villain was, where he made him do all that shit. I thought that was really great.
And then everything after that really sucked.
Yeah, 4 was not good.
And then they're making 5. No, they did make 5.
Probably not going to be good either.
They did make 5. It's out. There's Live Free or Die Hard, and then the other one with his son in Russia, whatever.
Yeah,
I haven't. Yeah. Number 4 had Kevin Smith in it. Watch that. So we have the same.
It's another series that waited way too long to make sequels.
Speaking of, so I'm going to go ahead and jump into my number 2.
Good, because I know my number 1. I don't know.
And
my
that
number
would
2.
be Indiana Jones and the Temple of Doom. Out of the original 3, I've always liked Temple of Doom more. And it's probably because they had it when I saw it, I was a kid. Okay? And I liked Short Round. He was fucking awesome in that movie. No time for love, Dr. Jones! I appreciated The Last Crusade. The first, it's alright. It was kind of established in the franchise. There was it's okay. There's an interesting theory out there that they did on Big Bang Theory. If any of you guys watch the original Indiana Jones and, what was it fucking called? Indiana Jones? Raiders of the Lost Ark. Would have played out the exact same way if Indiana Jones had not been in that movie. You're looking at me kind of baffled here, okay?
I have no idea what you're talking about,
Okay.
but spoilers, this is my number 1 movie of all time, so I'm really curious to hear this.
Then
Because as soon as I heard you say Indiana Jones, I'm like, shit, and then you're like, Temple of Doom, I'm like, yes!
Okay. So, the whole movie plays out like this, is that the Nazis are trying to get the Ark of the Covenant. Okay? Well, Indiana Jones foils them throughout, but they still end up getting the Ark of the Covenant, correct? Okay. So, if he didn't steal the medallion, they would have had the medallion, they would have found the location. Okay?
No.
Why?
Because he got it from Marianne.
But they were there, on their way there, before he even showed up.
Yeah, but they would have just killed her. She wouldn't have given it up. They would have never gotten the medallion.
He still, she had it on her. Remember? She was wearing it.
Yeah.
They still would have got the medallion. Okay. They still would have, it would have taken them longer, but they would have gotten the Ark of the Covenant, and he didn't do anything in the end of the movie. They opened it and they die.
No, because they wouldn't have been able to figure out the staff of Amra or whatever the fuck it's called when he's talking to them at the University of Chicago in in his classroom when the two FBI.
I'm not doing it justice, but look into it. I can show you the clip. They go into all of it. I'm not doing it justice at all, but it really makes you sit there and because I'm sure you've seen Big Bang Theory before.
Yeah, I've seen the first
Amy
five seasons.
Farrah Fowler tells him, "I like the movie, but you do realize that the character of Indiana Jones would have been irrelevant in it." And Sheldon's like, no. And he starts explaining everything, and then she goes, no, here's why. And then it's the whole movie of him going, like, she just debunks him through the whole thing. It's legit. Look it up. I can show it. Look it up. It's fucking awesome, the way that they break that down.
Okay.
Do you want to go into your number 1 then, since we're talking about it? Or do you want to keep
No, I'll
back
save
to
it. I'll save it.
Okay.
I'll save it. I'll wait. I'll wait.
My number 1. Did you do number 2? No, you had
I
number 2.
haven't
Number
done
2. Number 2. Go.
This is I have too many, but I'll just utilize this for now because it is one of my premier movies. I'll go with Pirates of the Caribbean: The Curse of the Black Pearl.
Okay.
I love everything about that movie.
Mm-hmm.
Johnny Depp is hysterical. I love his lines. I love the action. I like the scenery. I'm big into like I'm way more into. You guys can hear me talk about games all the time too. Like I don't know if you noticed, I'm way more into older stuff. Like I prefer sword fighting and older battles like Lord of the Rings, where everything was still arrow thrown, to modern day just push a button, blow 100 guys up. Like I'm way more into like World War II and before battles, where there was actually strategy and like not just let's just decimate these 10,000 people because they're standing close together with a missile. I'm really into like Braveheart and like old school battles. I think that's why I like Rise so much. I love that whole time period. So to me, like the swashbuckling pirate was great. I love the mechanics, the one-on-one, how long the battle scenes go. It's not just a dude pulling a trigger and that dude's done. There's skill and mystery behind it. I like the quirky like supernatural elements that where they got cursed through stealing the gold, and everything's not perfectly historically accurate, but it's close enough where when you're in a movie and you're just trying to be entertained, it's like that's close enough. It makes sense.
Great. You don't have to. I mean, that's the whole point of an action movie is you're not really there to think.
Yeah.
You're there to be entertained.
The thing is, they did incorporate a lot of really good stuff that was completely historically accurate from the time period, like with the East India Trading Company and the Rum Runners and all of that was going on in the Caribbean during the heyday of the Buccaneer. I love that movie. Mm-hmm. There's so much, and it's fun from beginning to end.
I completely 100% agree. Great movie.
I don't know if it's my true number 2, but it's definitely
great franchise. Yeah. Now, a lot of people would assume that I would pick for my number 1 Batman of some way, shape, or form, but that I don't necessarily classify an action movie as a superhero movie because, of course, a superhero movie is going to have action in it for the most, So I'm not going to say Dark Knight as my number 1. I'm going to go with the epitome of an action film, and say Terminator 2.
Okay.
What were you thinking?
I don't know where you going with this. I was like, I want to hear what the epitome is.
When you think about an action movie, and I agree with you, I prefer sword battles and everything like that. But when you think action, you think explosions, over the top graphics, and that movie really changed the industry of how you made an action movie. Sure, you had Rambo and Star Wars and all this.
All these games all these movies that we're missing that should probably be on the list.
But Terminator 2 really revolutionized the industry. You can still watch that movie today, as to where you can't watch a lot of early 90s, early CGI movies. Bad. Yeah, or stop motion animation. It's really hard to watch, but you can still watch Terminator 2, and that released in 1993, because it was the summer that Army of Darkness came out. Terminator 2.
For me, I already kind of gave it away, but it's Indiana Jones and Raiders of the Lost Ark. To me, it had the best story of the original trilogy, the best supporting cast.
Minus Short Round.
Short Round would have been cool in that movie, but
no time for love, Dr.
Jones. The chick from Temple of Doom was fucking annoying.
She was.
You know what I mean? And like the Kali Ma dude, I don't remember his real name. Kali Ma. He was fucking creepy. But
Mola Ram.
Yeah. But the Germans were more fucked up, I think. That, I loved that original scene is like him going into that original temple to steal the whatever the fuck it is, that golden piece with that sandbag that he ends up screwing up with. I don't know. I just think that's the most badass action movie of all time. And he's running out of there, and he's got the entire tribe chasing him. He's like, "Start the engine!" And he jumps into the lake, and they have to fly off. And then there's the snake there. It's just like, oh, that movie's awesome.
It is.
Fucking Indiana Jones, dude. Harrison Ford's the man.
That's how he talks now. Just fucking mumbles. All right, we got one more here.
All right.
Austin asked, what's one video game from your childhood that you never beat and you still regret not beating?
Shit.
I've got mine.
Go ahead, sir.
Mine is the original Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. Not the arcade game, but the original Turtles. I don't recall beating that, ever. And I've gone back and I've tried. I'm like, I'm gonna fucking beat this game. And it's just so hard. It is. Unless you're Donatello, you can't fucking do anything. And just the frame rate issue, the game is, it's practically unplayable at this point. Especially because I'm so adapted to modern gaming. I really have a hard time going back, and I don't... My hand-eye coordination, as I've grown older, obviously, has lost a little bit of it. I find games that, on the NES, that I played as a kid, that I can't go back and do anymore. I'm not good at them anymore. I think I've got it here. There it is. There it is. It's a repurchase. That sticker look familiar to you?
What was the old code for pre-owned?
01.
No, it's 91.
Oh, 91. Okay, well, new was 01.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, there's that. That would have to be that game and then this one.
That's probably what I was going to pick, actually.
Okay, well, here, I'll let you hold it for yours.
This little guy. Friday the 13th.
Mm-hmm.
Not a very good game. Very hard to play. Very hard to beat. Very hard to get 10 minutes into the game without dying.
I want to show you something cool, which you'll appreciate. Look at the sticker on that. Look where I got my copy from.
Central Video.
Mm-hmm.
Who the fuck are they?
It's a little mom and pop video store.
You bought it off them?
Yeah.
Or you just stole that shit after 3
I might have stolen it. I
Don't
don't
you
remember.
You got like $900 in overdue charges.
Oh, they're gone.
Yeah.
They're long gone. There's that, and then this was another fucking extremely difficult.
Oh, Fester's Quest.
Fester's Quest.
That's a hard one.
Fester's Quest.
It's a lot of hard games from back in the day.
Go ahead.
How's it going? How's it going? I'm all set.
Look at that's the one that you were talking about earlier.
Kid Icarus. Oh, you have it?
Yeah.
Holy shit.
Yeah.
Fucking A. All right. You all set, sir?
That's it.
This has been episode 95, part 1. Thanks for tuning in, guys. Catch us next week, same time, same place.